Warning. The following podcast contains explicit language, honest opinions and a sense of humor. Welcome to the Brothers Take.
Hello everyone and welcome back to a bonus segment of the Brothers Take. I am Chris, joined by my brothers Adam.
Hello.
And Eric.
Hello.
And we are back in the room to talk more about video games and to give our kind of reactions and afterthoughts on the Game Awards 2020. Which happened Thursday the 9th? Was that the 9th? 10th?
Yes.
Thursday the 10th of December.
Sure.
So this is...
Time is
taking a bit of time to get around to it, but we've all kind of watched the ceremony and we're going to give our thoughts on it. I say we're back in the room. We don't know where Eric is, to be honest.
COVID's hit us all real hard. I had to go move in with some Count Dracula or something. He seems pretty nice at the moment, though.
I'm in a haunted mansion. You're in Luigi's.
Yeah, haunted mansion.
Speaking of Luigi, we'll get there in a second. We'll get there in a second. Oh, fuck that shit. Okay. So we're gonna be talking about any of the stuff from the Game Awards that excited us, anything that surprised us. We won't go through it bit by bit. It's just the stuff that really stood out to us and kind of our thoughts on what we predicted and whether any of them really threw us off. If you're watching us on YouTube and you want to join in on discussion, be sure to jump down into the comments and give your thoughts on how the Game Awards went, what you feel like, each category, was it fairly done or do you feel otherwise? And also all the announcements, which was the most exciting for you. And if you're listening to us on audio platforms such as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or wherever you like to listen, you can get in touch, social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at The Brothers Take to let us know how you felt about the Game Awards 2020. But without further ado, let's talk Game Awards. So,
did you just find... Go ahead. Sorry.
What
go ahead. I suppose you're the host, so...
No. Sorry, go ahead. What did you find? No, I didn't.
I didn't find it.
There's always a kind of a not a negativity, but a just don't care around the Game Awards.
Yeah.
Like online and stuff.
Like
there's a lot of people...
I told a few of my friends that,
yeah.
Spoiler, Among Us won the best multiplayer.
Yeah.
I told people that I was playing Among Us with, and they were like, all right, yeah. So how do you eat a chocolate bar? I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you? What?
Yeah. Like, I even... I think it's well...
With my own circle as well, that there's just no care for it. And even online as well, like, a lot of people even being nominated didn't really care. Which is really weird to me, because I just feel like the Game Awards, like, I think if you're passionate about games, this is a platform that is elevating, like, it's the biggest entertainment industry, bigger than Hollywood, and here it is taking it seriously and rewarding and congratulating those that put in the effort. Why aren't we celebrating it? Why has everyone got such a fucking... Oh, I don't give a shit. The Game Awards don't matter. It's like,
even
what?
This year, some of the guests that they had on to present was incredible. Like, one of them was just like, oh my god, what? They got that person?
Yeah. Well, you're like, you've got Christopher Nolan on the Game Awards.
That's the first I was going to talk about.
Yeah. Like, that's...
Eric, there's nothing to spoil.
There's no spoil. We're kind of expecting that everyone's already seen it, or
there's absolutely nothing to spoil here.
I really didn't think they would have... I think I heard Gal Gadot was going to be on it.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then, but I really did not expect Christopher Nolan to in any way take an interest.
Yeah, well, I heard that being mentioned. All right. I do think it was weird. Who they got to announce each category. I suppose Christopher Nolan was the biggest person there, so that's why he did Game of the Year. But I think it would have been cool to get him to do game direction, best director. Being a director,
I thought that made more sense too. But didn't he do? Wasn't his best narrative? No, his
was Game of the Year.
Yeah, his Game of the Year. Then Tom Holland and Nolan North were best multiplayer.
I
weren't they?
thought
I
that
thought they
was
would be
really weird because Tom Holland was there to introduce Nolan North.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is like, you're showing an awful lot of trailers, an awful lot. And most of them I couldn't care for and was like, oh, this show is going on very long. I'd like it to get on with it, right? And I'm not trying to, like, there's some games looked really interesting, but it was a little bit of overkill with like really, really kind of small games. I really thought there was going to be a couple of big things at it. There was lots of rumors of big things being at it that weren't at it, and I kept feeling like we were going to get it, and then it didn't. It felt like quantity over quality. And when Tom Holland was there, I was like, okay, so they're going to show the first teaser for the Uncharted movie. This is a really good place to show it. After they showed the picture of him, and then they showed the picture that they've finished filming it, apparently. And I just thought it was weird that he was just there to introduce Nolan North.
Yeah, I feel like Sony. I think Microsoft tends to. We saw a lot of Microsoft stuff at it, and even last year, it was the Series X was announced at it and stuff like that. Microsoft seems to be more involved with the Game Awards.
Right.
Even Phil Spencer was actually in the pre-show chatting with Jeff Keighley, and they were just chatting. Along with I don't know their names, but it's like one of the heads of AMD and EA as well, and they were just on a Zoom chat, and they're just like talking about games and gaming going forward, not necessarily about their individual companies or platforms. And Microsoft seems to be very present in the Game Awards, and Sony is really absent. And I'm wondering if it's they want to maybe control how they show their information, like they want to use their own shows for that or something, because Microsoft doesn't really have one. You know, like PlayStation has the PlayStation Experience, which they haven't done in a while, but they also have the those what are they called? Like the little events that they have, small ones. Can't remember the name of them now.
Yeah.
They're only like 15 minutes long, nearly.
I'll tell you something, man. You keep freezing, man.
I do?
Yeah, man, your audio's fine, but you're cutting up like I don't know. There's something like you're like in the Matrix.
Me.
Not for you, only for me.
Nah, he's fine for me.
Oh yeah, well,
I caught all that. That was.
Oh no, I caught it all. I caught the audio, but it was kind of like, you know, Sam Raimi's Spider-Man, as I had nothing's worrying me. You know what I mean? It was like that. And if you don't know that, then you've
I
missed
think it's
out.
your end, Chris.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, guys. I fucked up. Were there any of the
I think Jeff. I think Jeff is taking on, like, he likes hearing the feedback. So if there is anything that you were like, oh, this didn't work, or I like this, it's worth just tweeting to him, because he does take it on board. But I agree. I think it's overstayed its welcome, and I felt there was more attention on the announcements than there was on the actual nominees. Like, they kind of just, and here's the category, and the winner is, okay, let's go on to the next announcement.
Yeah,
it's like, that's really weird.
The way they announced it, like each person, so like Nolan North or Gal Gadot or Keanu Reeves or even Nolan North, they kind of seemed like a bit, only Keanu Reeves seemed like he actually wanted to be there. The rest seemed a little bit like, yeah, and
cool. He's so cool.
Keanu is great.
I really liked his. I liked his interaction. It was good.
Yeah. So like, but the rest were kind of like, yeah, they did a thing. This is who they are. This is who won.
Mm-hmm.
Goodbye. That was it.
Yeah. Well, the ones that annoyed me was when there were some categories, and I suppose they feel like some categories are more important than others, but it really annoyed me the ones where it was like, and the nominations are, and it's just like a list on the screen. There's no like visual to go with or anything, and the winner is blah. So congratulations to them. Okay, the next one is blah blah blah, and like, I don't know. I felt like I feel the exact same way. I feel like there was way more attention on all the announcements, which there was so many of, and not enough on the actual awards themselves, which, to be honest, was the reason I was watching it.
Yeah. Also, like the Game Awards, they're not exactly Lord of the Rings or something, or Avengers Endgame. So what I saw, it was 3 hours long. I was a bit like, yeah, I'll just watch the important clips on YouTube.
It was like 3.5 hours.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And then with the pre-show, it was 4 hours.
Jesus. Oh yeah.
So okay, just on that note, then, with the amount of announcements, was there any of the announcements that excited you?
Absolutely.
I
Absolutely.
I think there was two that
Oh, announcements. Yeah, there was two that like really
Two that caught
jumped
my
out
eye.
at me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if this is the same.
Okay, kind of actually three. Three for me.
Three for me as well, actually. Sorry, 3 for me as well. You're dead right.
I got 4. Can we raise the numbers?
Okay, let's go for 5. We'll go for 5.
Anyone got a 6?
Anybody, come on, anybody.
Oh, we got a 7 in the back there. 7, raising the 8.
Start with something that I think, Eric, you did comment to us in the messages. It does look too good to be true, but Crimson Desert
does look too good to be true.
Yeah.
Looks fantastic. That was a serious presentation for a game. Yeah. That's supposedly an MMO. It doesn't look anything like an MMO.
Oh, it is an MMO. Fuck.
Yeah, no, it is an MMO. But I was looking at it going, this looks way better in quality than any MMO I've ever seen.
I think there's a bit where it showed an archer firing an arrow, and I was like, that looks a bit like an MMO, the way they fired the arrow. Right. But everything else, the cinematics, the graphics, the actual gameplay itself, like the fact that your man ran up, jumped, did a double kick, and then like stabbed another guy like so fluidly. It was like, nah, this is definitely not an MMO. This is like a cinematic RPG.
Didn't they say it's like a single player narrative MMO or something like that?
Something to those effects, yeah.
So it's like an MMO, but it's like way more focused on like the single player narrative experience. It's just so I think the reason it might be an MMO is that you could have someone join you and
on your quest
it would be filled with people. It'd be a larger world filled with people then, I guess.
Or like that some particular areas are MMOs? Because I know
yeah. It's hard.
That sounds better to me.
But like, the presentation was just wow.
I think the main bit that got me was because I was thinking about the dual sense and everything and haptic feedback with the controller was when your man was riding the dragon during the trailer and all of the catapults were coming up and I was like, that looks class. So that game.
And the graphics were, it's like that you can't keep that kind of performance up for the whole thing, can you? Like this is ridiculous looking.
Yeah. That and the animation. You know, there's kind of like the animation felt almost too good. I'm wondering if this is a bit of a pre-rendered, but it did say actual gameplay.
That's the thing. It did. Yeah.
That's the bit that really blew me away. And and I think they probably knew that people would be a bit kind of skeptical, so they have it at the very beginning. And even Jeff Keighley said it before it showed it. He said, "And this is actual gameplay," you know.
Yeah.
And I think that's what made it more impressive again.
Yeah. I'm very excited to see where that one goes. I do think it looks a little too good to be true.
Yeah.
But even if it's half as good as it looks like a very impressive game from a studio that I don't know. So that's really cool.
It's supposedly, I don't know if it's a sequel or just a follow-up or something like that, because they did do another one. And I think it's called Black Desert.
Okay. They're
same studio.
Black Desert. Is it the same one? Because I know that's just a full-fledged MMO, which actually, again, looks really impressive.
Right.
Gameplay and graphic-wise, and everything you can do in it.
Cool. Yeah. The next announcement that excited me was it called the Callisto Project?
Yeah, Callisto.
Right?
Oh, never mind. And there is 4 actually.
Okay, hold on. We're gonna leave. We're gonna leave one of them last. Okay, we're gonna leave one of them to last. The Callisto Project, right? I was looking at it, and as soon as I saw the little green barcode health bar, right?
Me too.
I went, is this Dead Space? I went, fuck off. This is a Dead Space reboot or something, right? Please be Dead Space. And then as soon as the trailer ended and it wasn't Dead Space, and I was like, oh, okay, but it's very like Dead Space. And then your man goes, wow, serious Dead Space vibes. I was like, yes, there is. Thank you. Yes, there is. And it turns out it is by the guy who made Dead Space, or at least he's working on it. I thought that one looked. I mean, obviously it didn't show gameplay.
No.
But just to see something similar to that Dead Space vibe. Yeah. I kind of wish it was Dead Space though.
But it might be
feel like
it might be the
it
Dead
pretty
Space
much
universe.
is. I'd say it's like it can't be the Dead Space universe because EA own it. You know what I mean? Like EA owns that IP,
yeah.
Oh, I see,
and
right.
that was the studio that pretty much EA fired. Remember? They were supposed to be working on. I think
Right.
it was Star Wars 50. Is that what it was called? 50 something.
Or no, 1377 or
called?
something like that, wasn't it?
No,
Or
1313. Star Wars 1313.
13, it was.
13.
That is it. That is it.
Yeah.
And they got rid of that studio, and so obviously he's after like a bit of a Kojima job after getting another studio up and running, and maybe it's it's definitely a spiritual successor. So
Yeah.
like the way Dark Souls is to Demon Souls kind of a thing. It's like it's so obviously the same game, but they're not the same, you know?
Yeah, yeah. It looked great.
Might-
It really looked great. Looks scary. If it is going to be what was sort of presented in that, where you're on some sort of, space prison that's been overrun by monsters, I think that's a really cool setting as well for a game. That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
And then having the life bar as like a barcode thing on the back, like it was so cool. It was like, that's Dead Space. It is, but it's just been reimagined. Like that's, I want to see it.
It's like it's the game that everyone has always been wanting, isn't it? It's like that's what the last gen and it was missing was another Dead Space, because we had so many great horror experiences from like the Resident Evil to PT to Outlast, all these different amazing horror games. But Dead Space would have been the one that just kicked the shit out of all of them. Like, could you imagine, like, especially with the kind of graphics you can achieve now and black levels and stuff and lighting and audio design, especially with like the 3D audio that they're all going for now. Like, that's
fucking hell.
Terrible.
They need to revitalize it. We need to buy it. We need to leave it on a shelf and go, nope.
I'll tell you what it's like.
Yeah. So Eric, before we
Thanks,
come to, because you said there's 4, then so before we come to the other one, what was the other one that caught your eye?
Mass Effect.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Well,
Oh,
see, the only thing about Mass Effect was, of course, I'm excited for Mass Effect, but I already knew about it, and I felt it was kind of visual. It was weird to show it at that. Why didn't they show that at N7?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe they just didn't.
So when they went, we have one more announcement to show. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Okay.
So I thought it was cool. I'm glad I saw the N7 and what looked like Liara. I'm like, oh my god. And I said it before that when they make another Mass Effect, they're going to just boldly call it Mass Effect 4. I stand by that. I think this is going to be Mass Effect 4 to let you know that it is a continuation of the original trilogy. And even if you don't play as Shepard, it's going to be like some continuation of Shepard's legacy or of some kind, right? That's what I mean. However, the rumor was going around that we were going to get either a trailer for Metal Gear Solid Remake or the Silent Hill remake at this thing. So when he said we've got one more announcement, I was like, are we getting the official confirmation? And then it's like, yes, I love Mass Effect and I can't wait for this game. But we already had confirmation about Mass Effect. We already knew they were working on a new one.
Yeah, but I didn't know it was going to be Shepard.
Yeah.
I thought it was them continuing Andromeda, because I still want them to continue Andromeda, because that game...
You're the only one.
has a shit ton of cliffhangers.
Yeah,
like every single side quest to main quest ends with a cliffhanger. It's like, okay, really want it to be finished because you're tickling my balls here. But when you have them going down, right? Okay, we got they're talking, and then the Reaper sound, and then it goes into the Mass Effect music, and then seeing Liara climb a dead frozen Reaper, and then you have the frozen Reaper in the background, then getting the N7 plate. It's like, this is really, I think it's really interesting because it's continuing that story. Well, why are the Reapers dead? Because you had a choice whether to save them or not. How far in the future is it? Is because Liara is the Shadow Broker? Is she going to use the Lazarus Project?
It is Liara, isn't it?
No, it's absolutely Liara. Yeah, that's Liara.
Yeah, I don't think you should get too excited about that game.
Whoa!
Just because of like.
Hey, what are you doing here?
What are you breaking my balls here? Hey, he wants his balls tickled, not broken. Come on.
Well, just because, like, I mean, their track record isn't great right now, right? BioWare's track record isn't great.
It's one game.
It's 2 games. Anthem.
Andromeda.
I forgot about that one.
Anthem and Andromeda, right? Not a great track record so far.
Yeah, but did you not see Eric's Dragon
the
Age
fact that
powers?
the fact that they didn't
Actually, that was an interesting.
announce it at the N7 kind of feels like this was just announced kind of a thing. Like this is just them. It's like, all right, okay, now I guess we'll go make another one. People seem to be kind of excited about our Mass Effect. I feel like this is kind of far out.
Because on
You don't think
N7
so?
Day they announced that it is far out. You're absolutely right.
Oh yeah,
It's not
Yeah.
coming soon. But they did announce that they were working on one, and they did show screenshots or concept art of some of the stuff that they were working on. So I don't think
Yeah.
it's something that they just scrambled together.
Well, I don't think they have any idea yet. And like that trailer is just it's just a
It's a hype
CGI
build.
trailer.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
I know.
It's as the equivalent of just showing you the concept art. So we have
But
absolutely no idea
I don't
what
think
that game
show
could be.
N7 and Liara and Reaper sound effects if your intention is not to continue the original trilogy. So like I think it's very clear that this is not an Andromeda sequel.
No, yeah, no, they're continuing to. Well,
They
yeah,
definitely
it's not
are.
Andromeda at all. Andromeda's
Yeah.
set like
So you can
600
take
years in the future.
that from it, and then if you're excited about that, great. And if you're not, then. But let's be honest, everyone who's a Mass Effect fan is. So, everyone's pretty happy to see that N7 and go, oh, cool.
I mean,
it's
like-
Shepard's story still, or
Yes,
something.
I think if they had gotten rid of some of those other games that they announced, put in the Mass Effect, and then put in Silent Hill remake and Metal Gear Solid remake, that'd be so much better. Yeah, make that.
Yeah, of course.
fucking-
Yeah,
make that 4 hours. It'd be amazing because they have those two games being announced.
Thought we were working up to it, to be honest.
Yeah.
I you know what? It's like it goes to show that rumors are only rumors, and there's no point in getting too worked up about it. But I actually, I for some reason, I got roped into the rumors online, and I was like, oh my god, we are going to see Metal Gear Solid remake or Silent Hill remake, and we're going to see the first Uncharted movie trailer. We got a proper vibe.
Again,
for what-
I do feel like Sony wants to control that information themselves.
Yeah, I
over
think
their
you're
own
right.
event. Yeah.
I think you're right.
Anyway,
The bit. Well, I really thought we were going to see the Uncharted movie, and not that I'm hugely excited for that, but I would like to see how it's
Something.
going to look. And just because they announced Tom Holland being at it, I was like, very weird.
Yeah, it was weird.
He's not.
I liked
announcing that.
Nolan's interaction though. I thought his response was really
Yeah,
good.
it was good. It was good.
That was
Yeah,
good.
the day
Yeah.
when you look up Nathan Drake on IMDb and it says Tom Holland.
Yeah.
I'll be very bitter.
Yeah. Okay, so then, sorry. Yeah, I had actually kind of forgotten about the Mass Effect reveal at it.
You
Only because
Sick.
I sort of-
bastard.
yeah, but I sort of like I had already known it had been announced, sort of a thing. It didn't seem like a new announcement for me.
Mhm.
The thing that stole the show for me, which really shouldn't have, because it's a game I'm not going to get or play. I don't have.
I am going to get. Me and Adam are going to get it. We're going to
Get
play
it.
it.
Definitely gonna get it. Should
What?
have
Like,
a brothers
okay.
get together.
throughout the whole thing, it's same as like remember the Dead Space thing. Every time I was thinking
Yeah.
of something, they kind of said it, right, or they did it. And like I was looking at all these characters, and they fell back, and they were looking up, right, for the Smash Bros thing, and I was like, yeah. To be honest, there's only one villain that, like, in video game history who could just like fucking wipe all these guys out. It's Sephiroth. Imagine Sephiroth came down now, right? I was literally thinking that, but I was like, but that's not gonna happen. And then the thing slashed, right? And then it just moved, and you just heard the music, and I was like, no, fuck off. Because like we said it before, we were like when we were talking about our own, like, imagine if you could make like an RPG party or mix lots of characters from different video game franchises together, which is essentially what this game is, right? But it's Nintendo's property. And it's like, and who would be the ultimate bad guy for them all to fight? Oh, it would have to be Sephiroth. They've made the game. But
They heard us and made it.
but the like every time you hear that music and you see Sephiroth come down, and it's like when he says, "I will give Smash despair."
Yeah.
It's so good, and it was the Advent Children version of One Winged Angel.
Yeah.
But that image of
when
him picking up Mario.
it's when that music kicked in. When that music kicked in, like I did shout it out loud with excitement, and Pagan was upstairs. She's like, "What's happening?" And I was like, "It's Sephiroth." And it's just like once you hear that music, like it's so fucking good, isn't it?
Yeah,
Like
and
it just makes it makes anything good.
it does. But as well, he is.
I was half expecting him in Fortnite.
He should be in Fortnite. He is the best video game villain. He is. He's just
Yeah,
so good. And he just brings a level of, every time he comes on screen, you're just like, no matter how many people are trying to fight him, you're like, oh shit, they are fucked. He just has that aura about him, doesn't he? Like, he's just like,
Yeah.
I am actually going to destroy you all. No problem.
I do think the highlight of the entire Game Awards was the silhouette of
him and Mario.
Like, it looked like he impaled Mario. I laughed so fucking. Did he just kill Mario?
Yeah, I was like, oh my god, did you just do that? And then it just showed it was a little hungry, but it was really, like, it was funny, but it was also badass. Like, it was a really cool image.
Yeah.
That was such a cool thing to show.
That's a great silhouette, though. Like, that's like, you know, when you look online for, like, cool video game wallpapers.
Yeah.
And you see, like, fan-made wallpapers. Like, that's something that you imagine someone making just because they love video games, is to have Sephiroth silhouette impaling Mario's silhouette. But it's also kind of like ballsy because it's a bit like, I can't believe Nintendo did this, because
Well, Mario's like their flagship, right?
well, it's not just that. It's like the moment, like, I would say the death of Nintendo's popularity was Final Fantasy VII launching on PS1.
Oh right, yeah, I hear you. Yeah, I hear you.
And it's like, that's not like, that is the reason why everyone like kind of jumped ship from Nintendo to PlayStation, was because Nintendo normally had Final Fantasy, and Final Fantasy VII was now leaving them to go with PlayStation. That's generally why a lot of people switched over to PlayStation, and that's what I saw there, and I was like, this is like, I can't believe Nintendo are showing this.
Yeah, it's like, here's Final Fantasy VII killing Nintendo essentially. So it was so cool.
One thing I find interesting about it is that it's like Smash Brothers Ultimate, whatever, X Final Fantasy. Not Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah.
It's Final Fantasy, which means it could actually have more than one character.
I do think that it's going to start with, like, say, Sephiroth and Cloud, but they will introduce more characters, and eventually it's going to be basically Dissidia Smash Brothers mashup. Yeah. Which sounds pretty awesome, to be honest with you, because you're gonna get, you know, characters like Link and maybe Terra fucking interacting and stuff. Like, it's just like, the possibilities are crazy. Yeah, and that image of, you know, is it Safer Sephiroth? Is that what that's called? You know, the many wings. That was that's so fucking cool. Is that the cover? Is that the cover art? That's so cool. Yeah, but you're right about that silhouette with Sephiroth and Mario. Like, it's something that you do think people would like. Like, it's gonna make a great thumbnail. Let's be honest.
Oh yeah.
So those were some of the announcements that excited us. There was loads, and people might gravitate towards different things. Of the actual Game Awards, then, was there anything that really surprised you or threw you off? And then was there any of them that made you really happy? You know, when you're rooting for something?
I mean, we all said Final Fantasy VII Remake for Best Soundtrack, and it got it.
I did that.
Did I miss that?
Yeah.
In the actual Game Awards.
Yeah. So
I wasn't actually announced.
No, that was in the pre-show. It was the first award.
Bollocks.
It was the first award given. I was actually pretty annoyed about that, where it was placed, because it didn't seem to be given importance.
Yeah.
However, I did wonder, did it have something to do with the scheduling of
all those announcements?
Because no, but like, after it was announced, one of the guys who worked on I can't remember who it was, but did talk in acceptance of the trophy. You know, they're in Japan, and I just wonder, was there a timeline issue or something? That's why they announced it the earliest. Because I do think that, because they do put a lot of importance on score. You know what I mean? And because they have the orchestra perform the medley every year. So I don't think they were trying to push it aside or anything. I really think it was to do with timeline and schedule. But I went like this, yes, out loud, when I got it, because I was like, thank you.
I missed it. Like, I went through the whole show, and I was like, where was that?
Yeah.
Like, you know, and then I had to go up and onto the website and actually see it, and I was happy to see it there. I think the one that I was kind of surprised with, I guess, was Best Action Game and Best Action Adventure. I think the rest of them, like, we were kind of in between, and we could see why others would win and all this kind of stuff. I think the best soundtrack was the only one where it was like, oh, obviously that's Final Fantasy. You'd be fucking nuts not to do that.
Yeah.
But for best action, I am surprised that Doom Eternal didn't win that over Hades.
Yeah, that one surprised me. And as well, most anticipated game. Eric called it. That surprised the hell out of me.
Elden Ring.
It was Elden Ring.
Elden Ring. Yeah.
I was like, I didn't realize. Don't get me wrong. I get that it's anticipated. But...
I'm always right. I said that last time. I am always right.
Yeah, you were not right about a lot of the categories.
Always right.
I have to say, I was really happy with. Obviously, I personally would have liked, because I do think they deserve more. I would have liked Sucker Punch to have gotten maybe even another award in some category, but I get it. There's a strong argument for The Last of Us Part 2. It was really well received.
Yeah. So,
but
best action adventure, I think, should have been Ghost of Tsushima.
I would agree with that.
Yeah. That one was a surprise to me.
But I was really happy they got best art direction.
Which I said as well.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that actually. I think all three of us said that one.
That one. No, I think I went with the Ori.
You said Final Fantasy 7.
I said Ori for that one, and the Will of the Wisps.
I said Ghost, but I thought it could have been Last of Us.
All right.
Yeah. So I was really happy that they got that. I do think that it just goes to show how strong this year was, though, right? Like the last time this happened, I think, like where it's this strong and there's not like one very obvious game like God of War that it's like there's no competition that's going to win everything, is probably like 2013, which was like the year of 2011, the year that Skyrim, Uncharted 3, and Arkham City were all out competing. You know what I mean? Where you have like, you can make strong arguments in many categories for a lot of these games. And like, so if Last of Us Part 2, for example, did not come out this year, you know that Ghost of Tsushima would have wiped up all those awards. And that's kind of the difference. Like, it's like there's, depending on the year that they came out, just goes to show like just how many awards they could actually sweep up, you know? It's so interesting to me.
Yeah.
Was there any other?
I wasn't really that surprised seeing The Last of Us 2 win so many awards, because they got Game of the Year, best narrative, best action adventure. I think it got something like some other ones I didn't really recognize either. Best director. Like Laura Bailey won best.
Laura Bailey. They got accessibility, and they also got. They got most of them. They got
it was audio design.
Audio design, which I was like, yeah, like I said it. The Last of Us Part 2 deserves that one, like absolutely. Yeah. And I think we knew it was going to get it for Abby.
Yeah.
Well, I thought it was going to be Ashley personally.
Yeah. Well, like,
we knew it was going to be one of them two.
One of those two.
It was going to be one of them two, but yeah. Yeah, I don't know if I totally agree with that one. I mentioned before why I think it should have been Ashley, but yeah, whatever.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think it should have been Ashley too. If it was up to me, it would have been. But I figured they were going to go with Laura. So, and they did.
It's interesting how different, like obviously like this kind of Game Awards, I think kind of. Yeah, it's a very controversial one.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a lot of controversy afterwards, actually.
Yeah, like people online were fucking furious, really, really furious, and it's just it's I suppose it just makes people really passionate, I guess. But yeah,
on a positive
people
note.
just have to remember it's like critics and your own personal, like, you know, players' voice was Ghost of Tsushima, so the public versus critics is very, very different.
Yep.
In terms of how you experience games.
People gave it about what?
They did. Yeah.
People gave out about Ghost of Tsushima being player's choice. I saw one article where they were saying that was just the alt-right movement, not like.
Oh, yeah, it's
very small.
Involved in all that shit. They fucking look at.
And then other people giving out the Last of Us 2 winning so many.
The actual like reason why people, like, I mean, I know there's going to be stupid articles like that, but they are absolutely the minority writing those articles.
Yeah.
But it did look like the Game Awards website got hacked because someone shared an image where all of a sudden the player's voice was 100% Ghost of Tsushima and 0000 for everything else.
Well, that has to be bullshit.
So it hasn't come out whether or not it did get hacked. I don't think it did. People were sharing it like, look at people are going in, they're not happy to The Last of Us. Because remember, Ghost of Tsushima was in the lead like for 2 days.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, Last of Us wasn't. Last of Us was in the lead, but it was like a dramatic lead, and I was like, whoa, what the fuck? What happened here? That felt a little weird. And then all of a sudden, it looked like someone shared an image where Ghost of Tsushima was 100% and everything else was 0. But I don't know, like, because you can go into like web inspect and you can change things and take a screenshot, or you can alter it in Photoshop.
Yeah, of course you can.
It's hard to know if it did actually get hacked, and there was no official anything to say it did or not. But then the next day, like how much Ghost of Tsushima was ahead over Last of Us, the fact that those two were leapfrogging each other so much within just the last day alone, looked really skeptical, I guess, to a lot of people. I personally think it was just a technical issue in terms of displaying the numbers.
Yeah.
Like when they count the votes, they probably go, "Oh yeah, Ghost of Tsushima is the winner." And I think that when they were writing that algorithm or something like that, it probably accidentally displayed on the website as 100%, because there can only be one winner, so technically that would be the 100%. Yeah. And it showed up on the website. I think that was probably the issue. But yeah, there's a lot of fucking tinfoil hats kind of comments around.
I mean, 2020 in a nutshell, really, isn't it?
Yeah, but like Ghost of Tsushima does deserve it, but so too does The Last of Us 2, because they're such strong games that, like, Last of Us 2 did not surprise me winning so many awards because it's such a well-made game. Yeah. Like, my only issue with the game is that it's too long. But there wasn't...
Like the Game Awards.
There was... like the Game Awards, yeah. It's just... But there was no award for pointlessly long. You know what I mean? Like, so...
It would have won that too.
It would have won that too.
would have cleaned up, I tell you. Look, the fact of the matter is, most of the people, despite what it looks like, most of the people who played The Last of Us Part 2 liked it.
Yeah.
And most of the people who played Ghost of Tsushima liked it.
And most of the people who disliked Last of Us Part 2 didn't even play it.
Yeah. And then the other thing is, if you look at on, like, say, Facebook or Twitter or anything like that, if you look at any video or picture of The Last of Us Part 2 or whatever it is, because it can seem like everyone hated it and it's people versus the critics or something. But if you look at it, they always have like thousands and thousands of likes and hearts and loves, right? Because that's what the people who like it do. They like it and they move on. The people who don't like it jump into the comments. So the comments looks like it's just negativity and everyone hates it. But if you actually look at the little like bar, more people like it than the people who are commenting. So it is what it is, you know. And you're allowed to not like the game, but
absolutely.
Oh, but you know, it didn't win an award just to wind you up. That's the other thing.
No, it did.
People genuinely do love this game. So
no, because like I said, I wasn't surprised that it won so many awards. Like because it does deserve those awards.
And I will say on the best narrative one, because I think that's one that I wouldn't agree with, and it's where my criticisms of the game come from. But within that game, there is a narrative that possibly, like, it's not the overall narrative, but it possibly is the best narrative that came out this year when I was thinking about it, and that's Lev's story. Lev's story within The Last of Us Part 2 possibly.
I heard a really interesting like discussion on The Last of Us 2, because it's one of those games where it's kind of like, you know, when you see a movie and there's like a controversial take on the movie, so you like going onto YouTube and seeing like breakdown analysis and things like that and talking about it. I really enjoy doing that with something like Last of Us 2 because I was really torn with the game. I didn't know whether I liked it or disliked it.
Yeah.
And what they were saying was, I wonder if it could benefit from the same type of thing that Beyond Two Souls ended up getting, which was the way its narrative was told. Like, that was what was criticized about that game. Mm-hmm. It wasn't told in a linear fashion. So then when they did like the remastered version, they gave you an option to play it in chronological order, and people seem to enjoy that more.
Yeah.
Like if they updated the game to help you play it, like, okay, Ellie day 1, Abby day 1, Ellie day 2, Abby day 2, how much would that change the narrative? Would that make a better game? It's hard to know.
It is hard to know. I would really enjoy that experience, I think, playing it that way.
Yeah, I think
I
that'd
would
be
too.
better, especially if you're playing as Abby. You can actually really get a connection to the people before you're Ellie killing them.
Ellie killing them. Yeah.
I think that would have helped.
And then as the
if
crossroads
flips,
come to meet, I actually think that would be really. I'd love to play that if they did that. It's kind of like
I think that could change my opinion on the game.
I'm a sucker for reorganizing albums when I hear them. If I listen to an album and I feel like there's great songs here, it's not that the album is bad, it's just structured badly. So I'm going to make a playlist and restructure it. And then I go, oh, yeah, now it's a great album. And so, yeah, if there was a way to play that game restructured, I would love that. I'd love that. Like, I already, like, when we rated it, I was an 8 out of 10 on that game anyway. Like, I really, really enjoyed the overall experience. Like, Final Fantasy VII Remake and Tsushima are still that bit higher. They're probably 9 out of 10 for me, but I still like I actually do love that game. I think it played really well. So
yeah, I was just thinking back on, like, you know, when they remastered The Last of Us 1 for the PS4, I was like all in. I bought it and I played it again, and I was like really enjoying that. If they did the same for PS5, I don't know if I'd buy it, you see. And I'm just like, I don't know if I would play that again. I think I'm done with that game, and I don't know if I'd jump in again.
Unless,
but that would, if they did that, that's a reason to play it again, because it'd be a slightly different experience. And that's my only thing with it. Like, I would play Ghost of Tsushima again, and I'd play Final Fantasy VII Remake again. I wouldn't play Last of Us 2 again.
Awesome. So let's start the petition now. Get hashtag Get Last of Us Part 2 restructured. That's all we want. Please let Joel die at the end of the game. No, we're only joking about that. Anyway, those are our thoughts on the Game Awards, the announcements that were made, and how we feel about the what won, and some of the other little announcements that may have surprised us or caught us off guard. But please do let us know, if you're watching us on YouTube, jump into the comments, let us know what you thought of the announcements and also of the awards that were given. Do you feel they were justified, or do you feel a little bit differently about some of the awards that were granted? And also, if you're watching us on YouTube, it'd be great if you enjoyed this, give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, click that notification bell so you know when we put out bonuses, because the bonuses are random. They're not like the weekly episodes. And if you're listening to us on audio platforms such as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or wherever you like to listen to us, you can touch base with us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at The Brothers Take, to let us know what you thought of the Game Awards overall. If you haven't watched it yet, you can go watch it. Feel free to watch it. They're still up there on YouTube, or even just some of the announcements. And feel free to get in touch with us. And also let us know, are you as excited as Eric about Mass Effect coming back? Shepard, baby. That's all for today's bonus, but thank you so much for listening. We'll talk to you guys next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.